All right.
Should old acquaintance be forgot and never bought?
To all our Patriot brothers overseas, welcome in. Good evening. Happy New Year to you.
Forgot and the days of old lang syne. For old lang syne, my dear. For old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of old lang syne. Sing it. For old lang syne, my dear. For old lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for the sake of old lang syne.
Well, welcome in again to Studio 10 Broadcasting, 10 O'Clock Talks. I have a guest tonight, and he'll be with us just shortly. And if you're looking, you'll be able to see him there. Anyway, in the ring tonight, why not? I thought I'd put it in the placement of a ring in this big war. Fun versus fair. And the flu is back. Get that. The flu is back. We lost Miss Betty White. She will be missed. She will be missed. What an example of an actress that she was. And a UFO over California, over Thousand Oaks. And if anybody didn't hear, Tesla. Check this out. A car 8 years old. Now, this is the mainstream we're headed to. 8 years old. In the shop for over a month. It needs all new batteries. $22,000, and I'm getting a reverb kick out of you, Scott, on the aftershock. And so, yeah, this is what we're going to have to think about in the future. $22,000 to replace batteries? It's just crazy. Numbers keep climbing all over America. 500 million are sick. I don't know. Anyway, that's the feed, and we know. Don't let that vaccinate your mind too bad. And then Maxwell. Up to 65 years. That would be beautiful. Let's see that happen. Anyway, Omicron, the bomb, turned out to be a dud, as we all know. We'll be talking about that as we continue through this with my guest. New Year's, the gatherings, all through Pittsburgh and throughout in many ways. Guess what? They have been canceled. Many things have been canceled. The dictations continue as we are surrounded in this massive fraud of a pandemic. And they plan to lock you out and lock you down and continue to do whatever is necessary. And Bill de Blasio, goodbye to that a-hole. Anyway, he won't be missed. But let's see what the new guy does, new man, lady, whatever. I don't even pay attention to that city anymore. It's so deplorable. But anyway, so those are some of the things. And if you haven't heard, and I follow this kind of ufology stuff, the scope has made it into the heavens. The $10 billion plan to see out into the universe is now a reality. Christina Gomez did a nice report on that the other day. Christina, CG, how are you? If you're out there, if you catch a little bit, I'm shouting you, girl. Mysteries with Histories, Fade to Black, Jimmy. Hope you guys are well tonight. Private properties. What is private properties when everybody wants your privacy? Privacy in banking, privatizing with business, no more allowed to do. So these are some other things we'll be addressing as we focus in this evening on 10 O'Clock Talks. And if you're just joining in again, I am Michael Anthony. And with me tonight, I'm going to introduce him. He is under his AKA. He is the most sought after, the most wanted, the most shadow banned, the resistance in California, Scott Perez. Welcome in, brother.
How you doing? Ready for the new year?
Oh, man, I'm more ready than you think, but I'm not. It's not coming with good vibes to me and through any information that I have. But, you know, that's the whole where else would we be? But 2022 does have three reflective positive numbers, 222. And I have a guest coming in tomorrow out of Canada. Rosalind will be in with me. I'm sorry, Sunday, whatever day Sunday. I'm so lost, honestly. In all this turmoil of life, Today's Friday, right? I mean, hey, help me out here. It's Friday. So, yeah, she'll be in a couple days with me. We're going to have a big show on Sunday for, I think, like 2 hours, as long as everything streams out of Canada well, because like anywhere in the United States, when we go to stream, there are issues. Anyway, I'm just going to double check everything. Yeah, we're definitely live. And it's starting to get out there. We're starting to get some thumbs and whatnot. Joey Too Legit's on. Hey, Joey, how are you? The inventor, the creator of Toes for Toys. Welcome in, brother. I hope you're feeling better. Happy New Year to you. Beth McCord, Happy New Year to you. Dora's in. So we got a few people here. They'll gather, if they're available. So what's on your mind, dude? Oh, he went into shadow. We've been having like some serious stream problem. No, this isn't the radio segment, the Dark Radio Project. We actually been trying to set up for over 45 minutes to come through live to you guys, and this is what we're going through. Could be because, like I said, he's truly the most wanted. It's not a joke. So here it is. We're going to keep trying to get him, and I'll click him back in. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me focus here on all the technical stuff, and let's do this. Let's try to make this happen for real. Okay, so we keep going through that same thing, huh, Mr. Perez?
Yeah, it looks like the signal. I know there's some weird weather in the Midwest. We got big storms coming through, so maybe, I don't know if that's having something to do with it.
Don't know, but let's say hello to David.
Or hopefully,
man. How are you, David? Go ahead, man. All right, well, we got you in. That's all that's important. Which narrative you want to head with first? You want to talk a little 9/11, or do you want to talk some conspiracy of the gun and the manufactured element of medication that everybody's talking about? What are you feeling, brother?
There's a lot of information coming out, just bombarding us every day. It's crazy. I don't know how you do it sometimes with the multiple shows you're doing. The information war that we're in is just incredible. It's incredible. Story after story. It's like,
I know. I'm sorry. Let me ask you a serious question, though. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Sure.
Because I know you really do gather and seek, and don't mind what's going on. We're keeping the feed going the best way we can. He'll be back. I promise. He'll be back. He's in there with us.
I'm here. Is this right. Is this a positive for us into 2022? I mean, is it looking like something's happening good for us from our side? There is some light in the tunnel, but there's a lot of darkness. But we've had some small victories, even here in the communist state of California. We have seen some victories on school. The school board has relaxed some of the mandatory vaccinations for the kids because parents aren't sending their kids to school and they're not gathering revenue. We've also seen on the East Coast where some of the nurses that had been fired because they wouldn't take the vaccine are now being recalled. They're calling them back and asking them to come back to work without the vaccine. So we're winning some small battles, but overall, man, this is a big uphill battle. It really is.
Same old game. Yeah, I know, and that's the biggest part of sadness. But again, we do know that there's a paper trail now coming out. We know now that there are voices coming more forward. We know that the heavyweights in podcasting and news, the people of strength and power that do the podcasts, like Joe and a few others and Alex, they're really bringing a whole new forefront of what I call citizen journalism to the table here, because they're bringing very heavyweight people on with validated information who are guiding us now to this whole farce of a plan of biblical proportions. You guys aren't right out there when you all said this is biblical, the mark of the beast. It is. It truly is. If you narrate through all of it, these people, this one family.
Yeah, it has become. It is. It's good as against evil, and I see it every day, and I feel so bad. I do see very good, educated people that I respect very much, but they still are laying down to the mainstream media because they're doing what they feel is right or what their church says, and they're going out and getting these vaccines. And now, like Michael, like you just said, we got heavyweights, we got scientists, doctors, people that invented these vaccines that are saying, no, this is a weapon. So I'm hoping that this gets spread more. We know Joe Rogan is having the inventor of the mRNA on his show. So let's hope that we can get more people to start waking up. I mean, you've done a hell of a job. I can turn on, go on the mainstream media to get my news, and you know what? I catch 90%, 80% of my news from Studio 10. So
that's
I do a lot of research, but it's really this is, like you said, this is a civilian. All your listeners gathering information, coming together. People are communicating with each other. I think we're getting the message out. I just wish there was more. I really do.
Yeah, well, you know what? I mean, hey, not that I want you to turn and run for me, but pay attention to Joe Rogan tonight because it's going to be explosive. It's going to be explosive. And, you must believe we're in a time and place where we still have a fight as long as we continue to think that we can narrate around the issues of all the political mutiny that's going on out of Washington. And people are speaking, even like Van Bosch, months and months and months and months ago. I went through some of his interviews and some of his private phone calls, to be perfectly honest with you, that were dropped through black ops of a different sort that share things behind all the screens here. And I mean, he was opposed to all this. He called it out on day one. And I think that may even be who his guest is tonight. And we do know that Trump came on today. He made some things. I want to just put that out there, give some Trumpism some vibration that he came out. And you got Pelosi, who's going to do a prayer visual tonight. I mean, so talk about creative narratives of bullshit in America, but this is where we are. And, we just have to keep fighting. We really do. But again, it's all bomb dropping. That's the truth of it all. And look at the attack, Scott. I'm thinking, well, hold on a second. I got to bring Scott back in here, and bear with us here. I'm going to keep him as live to the feed as I can. There he goes. He's back again. Okay.
I wonder.
Don't worry about it. We're going to.
I can hear you. I wonder if in your chat rooms or any of your members if they're seeing difficulty in the podcast. It's weird because it comes in and out for me, and I don't know. It could be
that's
me.
Part of shadow banning, algorithms. Well, I mean, I don't know. All right, let's put it out this way. I think we lost Scott. Hey, Joey, have you lost me at any time?
See, I'm going to go out and try to come back in maybe because I don't hear anything. It's garbled. Maybe I'll restart my thing. Can you hear me okay?
I hear you fine. But I lose you. But I do lose you.
I'll turn the camera off maybe.
Reboot yourself and let's see where it goes. Happy New Year, guys out there. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, see, something's just not right. I don't know.
See, I'm being told it's clear.
Do you have any people in your chat room to see if it's going over okay?
And I'm being told it's fine. All right, we're going to keep going here. Scott's very important to the component of this evening. And I can hear Scott, but keep losing him momentarily. Right. There's something going on, and again, I wasn't joking when I introduced him. I joke not. He's very active and has a very large voice in California. And these may be some of the ill effects of what we deal with. Because quite honestly, every time he's on the show, I go through this. Anyway, nevertheless, we're going to keep it going. Issues could be from high usage on the net. That also could be a factor as well. And that comes from the infamous David Parker, one of my partners in crimes. Yes, the Bigfoot. Anyway, thank you for coming in, and congratulations on your marriage, and happy New Year's to you and everybody else out there. All right, so did anybody hear this? I mean, this isn't going to not be done. It's going to be done. It's going to have success. This personal attack on DeSantis today, like where is he? He's missing in action. Does nobody deserve any holiday downtime? I mean, come on, is that where we are in America? Now we have a mayor down in Florida who's like voicing himself that way. And did anybody hear that, more so than that, he has a wife who's been diagnosed sick, and he's done everything for the American people in Florida. He truly has. So, here we are with those narratives of how everything's going. And all right, so Scott rebooted himself. Let's see how we can do this face off here and keep everything going. Yes, I was talking about DeSantis. I don't know if you're hearing me, Scott. Are you getting a feed of sound yet?
I can I don't know if you guys can hear me. I can hear somewhat.
Yeah. You're clear.
I know it sounds like conspiratorial, but dude, I know that
I know
the CIA,
the
FBI, and the NSA do monitor everybody.
Yeah,
it's crazy, man.
Well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but certain departments within the government
in and out. Maybe I can.
Why don't you try
a different device here in a minute? My son's here, and maybe I can use his device or something. I'll try to call in differently.
Okay. Anyway, we're all trying. David Young, Happy New Year. How are you? Lisa Lang, how are you? Thanks for dropping in. Appreciate you guys. Oh, yeah.
I wonder if I can call directly into the show.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay, I'll just try to call directly into the show.
All right. We'll do this a little different. Just X yourself up, brother, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, I'm doing a live.
All right, so everybody knows this is the deal. Whether to shadow banning him or bad feed due to weather overloading on the internet today, I don't know. Scott and I really do try to put shows out, but we do go through this constantly. They know when we're together, we cause havoc, and and they do focus there. For a while, it's been good though. It's been good. Is everybody having a great New Year's Eve? I mean, I still was coming through here on 10 o'clock talks, trying to give everybody some news and information about Alex Jones. So this is one of the more important things besides what Joe Bergain's doing tonight and his interview. But I mean, it's really important that you check this out. I did post it, and it's very, again, important. These papers that they tried to suppress for 55 years, just like the Vatican. You can't see anything. They're all sealed documents. And we know how those lies go. They do it for purpose of reason, never for, for our eyes or our ears, so to speak. And now it's come out the first 3 weeks in January, the tally numbers of the D word were so immense. And they were well aware within the first few weeks with warp speed what was going on. All right, so we are getting a call in right now. So I'm going to answer this here. All right, Richard, could we get you by phone? Is that going to work?
I think
that. All right.
Yeah, it's just weird. It's weird. It was breaking up, so I don't know.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. Welcome yourself back in. Tell everybody who you are. You're out of California. You're also living in the Red Sand State now.
Yeah, I got all moved. Basically, my stuff in Arizona, and I'm prepared to start the fight over there. California, you know what? It's very overwhelming. I call it being behind enemy lines over here.
Oh.
The overall I hate to say it, but almost California could be a lost cause right now. Although there's been some victories here, I think I got a better position to fight over there. Plus, I don't know, if some of your listeners, I know there a lot of them are back east, but if you try to buy a house here in California, you're looking at minimum $600,000. And it's ridiculous. I mean, some of these apartments are renting for $1,800 to $2,500 a month. So for an average family, it's very difficult. So I'm getting out of here. But I'm going to continue the fight, just in a different area.
Yeah, I know you're not going to give up. None of us are going to give up. We're going to always come back. And you know what? I don't know if I told you this. I won with YouTube. I'm still waiting for a lot of my videos to be released back to me. It winds up now that I have 2 YouTube channels. I don't have 2, but evidently I have 2. So I am at times able. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I do remember. I remember you saying that a lot of your videos wouldn't get uploaded. It's like they were, in your ass about shit,
Yeah, they removed them. They did all kind of stuff. But we're gaining our strength. They're coming back slow. Maybe I'm on limited resources to them, but it's been agreed that a lot of what no one has ever seen before will be able to see some of these things, and I can't wait for that to happen.
Yeah, because you're a warrior, dude. You've put out a lot of videos. I know me and you have actually done a couple 2 or 3 hour type shows that were just phenomenal.
Oh, we blow people away. We can't shut up when we talk.
I know. We just keep rolling, man. Well, there's so much going on, and there's a doctor right now, going on the COVID topic real quick. He's a Jewish doctor that came out of NYC, and he contracted, he got cancer, but the type of cancer he got there was no cure for it. It's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
And him being a physician, he obviously, and he wanted to stay alive, he started researching it. Well, he came up with some medications to start treating it. And it bought him some more time. So this kind of inspired him to help some of these patients that were coming in with COVID. And he did his research, and he came up with ivermectin. He's the one that started treating people with ivermectin and hydrochloroquine. And he essentially was contacted by one of Trump's handlers and treated Trump. You guys all remember when Trump got COVID, he treated him with it.
Right.
Well, since then, he's been shut down. I mean, literally, they've stripped his license. They've just gone after him, kind of like they did Roger Stone. They've just gone after him. Well, he's pissed off. He's a good American, and he's had enough. So he's touring the country right now, speaking. This guy is amazing. I can't remember his name right off the top of my head. It's a hard name to remember, but he's a Jewish doctor, and he is doing a lot of touring, and it's making a difference. He's getting the information out there.
Well, that's fantastic. And one of the things that really irritated me that's been coming out is how they're trying to suppress antibodies and stuff. They don't want them to be made anymore. And if you're of a wrong color, you're not entitled to them, because they say if you are of a certain Caucasian, you don't need them. And that's why they're more beneficial to people of other colors and cultures. How do you like that narrative?
Isn't that crazy? You heard about that too.
Yeah.
So supposedly, I believe it was in Minnesota, is where this first started popping out, that if you're Anglo-Saxon, you're white, you go into a hospital and you need to be treated for COVID. Guess what? Sorry, all colored people must be treated first. And they might treat all of them, and you're still going to wait for treatment in case one person does come. So they have to have, I mean, is this reverse racism? What is this?
Of course. It's the reverse narrative system.
I mean, Jesus. And then you're hearing these kind of things. Now, I don't know if you heard this one, Michael, because you get all kinds of information, but there was a school, and I can't even remember where, that all the school staff got raises except for anybody that was white. And they literally announced it. They all give. I swear to God.
No, it's happening here. It's happened throughout America, brother. It's been going on for over a year, but now it's flipping even harder. Just in Pittsburgh, yes, I had to throw this in. Apologies for the interruption. They're removing people from job placements, telling them they're no longer needed now in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, as well throughout other places. And again, there's superficial pay raises being thrown in people's faces. Again, they're trying to tie up and do anything that they can to magnify their narrative of plan, without a doubt. And they don't care if we know it. They never did care.
Yeah, they kind of like to rub it in our face, don't they? They kind of like that.
Yeah.
You know,
without a doubt.
Criminology number one. Okay? There's something about a criminal act or someone that does devious things that they cannot hold it to themselves. It's in their nature. They have to show you what they're doing. And, you know, me and Michael are nobody special. We're people just fighting for right. It's not that me and Michael have this magic ball that we can see the future. The fact is, these people have put it in books. They come out and say it in our faces. All we're doing is interpreting to it and giving it to the masses. It blows me away. It just blows me away that this is actually the way our country is going.
Yeah, and it's everywhere. It's the airlines came out; they're fighting it more. But here, you're talking about crime. All right, so let me just narrate on something for a moment. How is it not a crime to arm the Taliban willfully and leave our military weaponry behind of $86 billion? Now, listen, it wasn't even his military equipment. It was the people's military equipment.
Right.
But disarm America while we arm the illegals and more. I mean, how is this not an impeachable offense? And don't forget, I mean, truly, don't forget the airstrike of the 13 who we lost as well. How is this not some type of a crime where we're not standing up in a better position to be calling these type of ill judgments out that have been made, and it's like they have no other turn the left cheek kind of syndrome going on in them. I mean, they don't care that we know on any basis of truth. And it is true. But how, again, is something as large as that to occur? Is that not, in a way, and I hope I get the terminology right, a national security issue? Should we not be worried of who is in the White House?
We should be worried.
Of who is in the White House?
We should be worried. And can you imagine if a Republican or Trump, when he was in office, did some blunder like that? We'd still be talking about it.
Oh,
so,
yeah. But you
get away with whatever they want.
You do understand. The swamp was that deep.
I don't think Trump knew it was that deep. I didn't know. I knew it was corrupt. I knew that there was nefarious things going on. We know. We've all heard the stories of, the pedophilia rings, and I knew it was nasty. But in your face, treasonous acts. I don't know if any of the listeners know this, and I hope they do. And that people understand that the CCP has people in place all over this country, embedded in our government, embedded in the Pentagon, and if it's not their actual people, they have bought off people in our Pentagon, the State Department, the CIA, the NSA. It's a fact. It is a fact, dude.
They're married to them.
The CIA.
They're even married to and screwing them.
Yeah, screwing them and giving them everything they want. We had what was it? Pelosi, or no, it wasn't Pelosi, but Feinstein was driving around with a Chinese spy as her chauffeur for many, many years.
Yep.
I mean, these are treasonous acts. If our founding fathers were here, those people would be out on a tree being hung. These are clear treasonous acts. The problem is, like you said, the swamp is so deep, and they operate like kind of a mafia style,
Yeah.
When they got the goods on you, if they got you doing strange acts with a child or whatever, they own you. They own you. And this goes all the way to the top, to the Supreme Court. We know, and I'm not going to say the name, but one of our Supreme Court justices, a very respected one, adopted a child from what's this guy that hung himself? Epstein. He adopted a child from Epstein. So that it's compromised. Once you do these type of acts, they own you. It's like if you look back at The Godfather. Remember when the senator woke up and killed a hooker, and they go, "Hey, my brother owns this hotel. We'll get rid of it." It never happened. And all of a sudden, bam, he's giving permits to anybody they want. He wouldn't do it before. Once they got you, they got you.
And it's always been played that way. That's been the narrative of life and politics. Here's what's important. Here's what's important. And I know you'll debate me, and that's fine because I welcome it. But we're in a place now where, we should never idolize any one person anymore. If we haven't learned anything from anything right now in this place, the one thing I hope that people do learn from it is we, the people, must be the controllers. The dictators.
It's supposed to be that way.
But it doesn't work that way. When they get in there, the tides turn. I mean, take Joe Blow down the street. He runs for mayor. He gets in. He says, "Look, guys, I'm really going to fight for you. I'm going to do everything I can. We're going to change this city. We're going to change the sidewalks. We're going to put in new light bulbs." And he gets in there and they say, "Well, you know what? We need you to do this. And we'll make sure you get some funding." Well, that's the only way you get the funding.
Right.
So do you fail the people and look like a liar? Do you go along with their plan until they got you by the balls so hard that you can't do nothing? You're not even allowed to scream, but that's the placement, and that's been the narrative, and they do know how to use it well.
Oh, they do. And, this whole thing that's going on with this COVID and these masks and all this, me and we've talked many a times on and offline. This is the largest psyop ever done in the history of this planet. The Nazis would be in awe of what's happening right now. This is an incredible occult. They're using eugenics. They're using mind control. They're using the media. They have it all. There's a small band of people like me and you, and there's a lot of us. You got Candace Owens, you have Alex Jones, you have all these people. Michael said, "We're sticking our neck out over here, man."
We really are.
Oh, we really are. I've had some interesting conversations with people that I get weird phone calls. I mean, dude, I could tell you right now for a fact, dude, the DOJ listens to my phone calls. Have them call me. So they don't like what you're saying when you're over the target. And so I've had to take a little step back and from time to time. But I'm not gonna quit, man. I just can't. I can't, because the future of this country. If you have children, because you know what? If I was single and I didn't care and I didn't have any kids and I didn't really care, I'd probably go back and live in the hills anyway, because this place is getting crazy. But because I have a kid and I want to see the future for him to be promising like it was for us, we have to fight. We all must fight, because with us all together, they got nothing. I mean, just like we talked about earlier, where the nurses, they're calling nurses back because nurses are shortage right now because they wouldn't take the jab, so they fired them. But now they're letting them come back. It's because they got to have us. I mean, United States doesn't generate any revenue on their own. It's all tax. It's all our money. All of it.
Right.
Every single bit.
Without us, they don't exist.
They don't exist.
They don't thrive. They don't thrive. Their banks fail. So they need the worker bees, as I've always said. And without the worker bees, they fall. When I said 7 months ago, we can control this if you all walk out together, all for one for all, and watch the narrative change. Because yes, would we have put it into the United States into a place like the Great Depression? for them? Yes, and they deserve to have that happen, because when you cut their profits, you cut their mission. And here we are, and there's still a large majority who just don't want to face reality, and now they're being forced into a reality, and now the narrative changes that it's not working so well for them. Because when you lose millions of jobs, you lose millions of dollars in revenue that's workable cash.
And God, we're not even seeing the full crunch. I know that you're sitting back there in Philly and looking at, and I am here too, but I'm in the hell out of California. But you're looking at California, you're looking at New York. These places are gonna collapse. We're not even feeling the effects of this. I was talking to a manager the other day. And I work for a dealership. I won't disclose which one, but I work for a major automotive dealership. They can't find people to hire. Nobody wants to work because here in California, they're still on unemployment and federal benefits. They're making as much as I am to not work. So I'm talking to these managers. They're going, man, we have ads out. We're offering a lot of money. People won't even call them back. People won't even. So somebody will be interested. They'll call them. They won't even call them back. We're in a sad shape, and you can only run a country or a state on snake oil for so long.
Well said. Well said. And you know, it is social unrest. And when you look at some of the examples like California, Chicago, you know, and New York, and what they are, you know, forcing in place, they are winning in a place of scale that could make a grave difference to what an outcome could come in 2022 that we're looking forward to seeing in many ways on different platforms of regaining red in the seats in politics and so forth. But, you know, when you have such a social unrest and a negative authoritism that is still set to divide and conquer on their side, as long as they have power, we're powerless.
Yeah,
we truly are.
They have that media. They have the grasp on that media, and that is a powerful tool. Very powerful tool. You know, I understand that people are afraid. I understand that people just want to go to their jobs and pay their mortgages and come home and take the kids on vacations. But, you know, you're going to lose all that unless we really stand up and do something. And I'm not saying to people to run out and arm themselves in the street. I'm just saying there's ways we can boycott things. There's ways that we can turn the tide with this. You know, you take your mask off. I still can't get over it. And I don't know if you're seeing this in Philly, but I must see 20 people a day driving in the car with a mask on. There's no one in the car, walking on the street. This is a normality here. I guarantee I could go outside right here and stand in the front of my place and watch people walk by with masks on. They're by themselves.
Yeah.
We're being brainwashed by this. Well, and we are seeing some strange things. I don't know if you caught it, but a couple days ago, I think it was one of the major networks came out and said, well, it's not, you know, these masks really aren't, you're not really supposed to use these. They're not working, these cotton masks. I don't know what's going on. I feel that in a way, the way these guys work is it's like a balloon. It's blown up big. They let a little air out, then it blows back up. They let us win some victories, and then they push again. We've seen some clear victories on our side, but it's not enough. Every time they're still getting more hold, more stranglehold. I do fear these large cities when stuff happens. I really do. We know, we've seen last summer what the unrest can be. We've seen it all over the country. Hell, they had that CHOP up there in Oregon there, or was it Seattle, where they took over the whole town. That town is still not recovered from that.
Right.
You go through parts in Oregon, and I'm telling you, the whole city's boarded up. People are just, the businesses have failed. They can't do it.
Well, we must, here's one of the narratives that we must not forget to focus on. They are the ones feeding the narratives because they control the social media platform. Everybody sees on these platforms out there that, oh, this is going to happen on this day and that day comes and this never happens.
Yeah,
It's
I never
because,
buy that crap.
listen, it's narrative. It's what you have related to, mind control, conditioning
is.
people, controlling people. So here, let's not get like the feel like 1776 spirit that we shouldn't come out and try to defend. Well, first off, again, like you said, I'm not going to put that in place, and don't stand up by yourself or with people and think you can take this on. You cannot. It's much too
No.
powerful. You'll be eliminated in a zap. Press of a button, you're gone, and you don't want that for your family. But the point is, people were tied into the number or the letter, and I can tell you, it is being fed by the ones who are controlling this right now, which means they have more control over you than you really get. And if you want that example set even harder, look who won in Australia back in 1950, Hitler. He became the controller there. And the only thing he let you listen to, and he gave free radios out so you could do it, was listen to his narrative, his speech, and his focus. And they suffered riots and everything else down there. But yeah, and he won in overwhelming numbers.
I mean, you're right. They even controlled the movies, though. This was when movies were in and performances where they pushed their movies, they pushed their propaganda, and they suppressed anything that didn't fit their narrative. It's the same thing. Nothing has changed. And it's just that these elitists, these global elitists, in cahoots with the DMC, the Democratic Party, are using this mind control, this whole narrative, this whole suppression. And that's why they're after people like me and you. You know, I just heard today, and I don't know if you heard this, but Mike Lindell has been pushing and pushing, and he's got a lot of evidence that this election was stolen. We know it was stolen.
Right.
I just heard AT&T just ban him. They can't, they'll do anything to stop this guy. So now they've banned him from text messaging, so he can't get out to his constituents. This is the level they will go. They will not stop to go after you. They'll take your money. They will smear you. I just read that today. They went after his AT&T accounts, shut him down, so he can't text people. That goes to the extent. It's just like we've talked about. You mentioned it earlier. If you have a disease that's overwhelming, spreading across the country, wouldn't you want the best medicine or any medicine that would work against that? Right? Sure. But they're suppressing the ivermectin. They're suppressing the Regeneron. They're suppressing it. I just seen a memo the other day that if you send ivermectin in the mail and they find it, they will destroy it.
Yeah.
Why would a country try to hide the government in control? Why would they hide something that would help the people? And that's what I try to tell people that are going out and taking this jab. There is alternatives to it that have been proven. Now, in order to have a so-called vaccine, which this is really not a vaccine, but in order to have one, to get it out in emergency use without FDA approval or any type of approval, it must reach some criteria. And one of the main criteria is that there can't be any alternative medicine. So that's one of the reasons they've suppressed these other drugs, because it violates the Nuremberg codes right off the bat. If there's an alternative, you cannot emergency a vaccine. So they've broken the law right there. And I'm sorry to say, whether Trump was duped into it or he got wrong advice, he's still backing that booster, and his base is very upset. I am upset.
I am also.
Because
it affects children. It affects children, then you got to answer some questions.
Exactly.
And I'm not against them. Yeah, and you know what? We're not against them.
No, by no means we're against Trump.
But let me say this. But I tell you what, with what I'm hearing when it comes to that, that is going to be a complete failure to our future. With everything we know and all the calculations of the best coming out, laying out all the components and of what this will cause and the problematic issues and the numbers that they are already projecting. However, we're not going to change it as long as they're in power. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter in any way, Scott, because they control the whole damn circle of everything we're fighting.
The whole deal.
And people don't. They really think that there's another narrative filtrated into this system that we're talking under right now, and there's not.
No, yeah,
there really isn't. Here, did you ever watch the movie Don't Look Up?
Oh yeah, I think I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, listen, if you haven't, check into it because I'll tell you why. It was a movie that was funded partially before Trump got out of office. It's looked upon as a comedy event, but it's a catastrophic failure of an event. Look in the first 5 minutes at the picture on the desk of who was supposed to be president during this time and what would have happened. I'm telling you, and this is not a joke. This was a paid for out of a division of a different source that wanted to put a message out there for you to see. I do believe it came out in 2021, in the early part of it. But check it out, and it will narrate you through every ounce of corruption, and that is the shit show.
Wow.
It will.
I'm going to have to relook at that.
It's going to blow you away. It's going to blow you away. Wow. I'm telling you.
You know, I'm not going to sit and bash on Trump. I would follow Trump anyway. And I do like the fact that he's saying, look, it should never be forced to our military. It should never be forced to anybody. And he's not in agreement to having that done to the kids. But he is saying, oh, it's safe. And I understand. It's his baby. Warp Speed is his baby. It's his legacy. But he's going to have to really, at a certain point, sit down and look at this stuff because he just did an interview with Candace Owens, and she put him on the spot with it. She literally asked him straight up, and he asked her, well, did you take the vaccine? She goes, no. No, I didn't. Have you, did you have COVID? No. I think he's starting to get it. We've seen people do some boos at some of his rallies, but someone needs to sit down with Trump, and Trump's a very intelligent. He's a ferocious reader. He needs to sit down and look into it because the evidence is clear. It's not a couple hundred scientists, thousands of scientists and doctors coming forward and saying, look, this is killing kids. So I really pray for Trump, but if it came down to it, Michael, and it was Trump and one of the crazies on the other side, I'd still pick Trump. But I don't like the fact that he is pushing that booster. I don't like
Do you realize how many people back him and he controls?
A lot, dude.
Wouldn't it be one of the biggest explosions in the world if it turned out to be something totally different? And I'm not saying that that's the issue here.
Yeah. Well, but you do see that, Michael, that this vaccine is killing people.
Yes, unequivocally. Right? It's doing it daily.
So
I had 3 more die around me in the past 2 weeks.
And they've been hiding the numbers.
Yes.
They've been suppressing the actual numbers of people that have been it's killed people, but it's also maimed people. There's a lot of side effects with this stuff because it was an emergency drug pushed out, but this thing is a gene therapy. It weakens your immune system. The more shots you take, the weaker your immune system, to the point you don't have an immune system. An average cold would kill you. People will be reliant on this to take every 6 months. And that's a fact. I mean, scientists have proven that over and over and over. Israel, which is fascinating, 96% vaccinated there. They're getting ready to give their fourth shot, and all of a sudden the government last week said, whoa, wait a second. All of our hospitals are full of people that are vaxxed, and they're vaxxed times 3. We better look into this. So Israel just put together a team of scientists to really study this. I hope something comes out of it. I don't, people got to wake up, man. I ain't putting
It's hard to wake up with these false narratives. This is why we're talking about this. I hear what you're saying, and you're not wrong. I know what Israel's doing. They're not wrong.
Yeah.
The point is, it still comes back to the fact, Donald Trump can change this whole fight. And I don't think for a goddamn minute, he doesn't know what the hell's going on out here.
Well, I thought about that, Michael. I'm glad that you said that. I think about that, and I think about that. Every day I've been thinking about that. And I watched a little side thing that Candace did the other night in her bathroom. She did it after she did the show with Trump. She goes, I don't believe he's doing this for nefarious reasons, you guys. If it looks like that, I can tell you the way I feel about it with the interview with him. I don't feel he's doing it for nefarious reasons, but Trump is a very intelligent man. He's looking down this tunnel, and everything he can see in that tunnel, he's extraordinarily good at if he focuses what he's focusing on. For some reason, she was saying, and this is her judgment on it, she believes that somebody needs to sit down and show him the evidence. He's been surrounded by these fools, and he gets a lot of his information from mainstream. Now, Alex called him out. Alex Jones,
yes,
Adam
he did.
Schroyer, they called him out. And they said, look, dude, you're destroying your base, and if you want to be known to go down in history as genocidal, like the Nazis, you're going to continue to push this. You better make a decision soon. Because, God, Trump's got to understand numbers. If he loses part of this base, he ain't going nowhere. This base is huge.
This is exactly why I said people should never put their trust again, ever, in another man.
Right. Yeah.
And that you need to be in control of the dictation to them and make sure that agenda is met for us, we the people. A representative who's smart enough to run the country? Yes. But get our authority, get our permission before you take any step forward. I'm sorry. I'm not against anything you're saying. I'm not against Donald Trump. But don't think for a minute that he doesn't know the Bible. And the Bible says,
so you believe he is aware of these deaths?
Oh, hell yeah, he is. Without a doubt, he is. And I know that from, yes. I'm not going to get into that.
That's huge, Michael. That is huge, Michael.
Again, I'm not against him. I don't know what the ideology and I don't know what the theory of his message is. He keeps pointing up. If you point up and say, I'm not the one, there's somebody more powerful pointing up to what's up there. Are they aliens? Is it God? Is it angelics? What are you referring to? What is your message there?
Yes, I would say if that's the case, tell us.
He knows it's the mark of the beast, and he will go to hell for it unless he believes in hell.
And you know what? I would say 90% of the people that I know that I feed my information from are saying the same thing as you are, Michael. He's got to know. He's a smart man. He's a reader. He looks on the internet. He's got to see the messages. He knows Alex Jones.
Yes.
He listens to him. He's got to know that, hey, people are getting pissed off at this. Now, you brought up an interesting subject, and I've heard this over and over. People are starting to really talk about this. Is there somebody that's over the whole thing that is pushing this? Is this, because Trump, like you said, he's got to know. Well, then he knows that the scientists have come out and said this is a population control weapon.
Without a doubt.
It's made to get rid of people. And do we think that there's too many people here? Yeah, probably. But you don't commit genocide. You don't push people into doing this. It's not the way to do it. But if that's the case, let's just say it is. Let's say it's an alien intervention, and they've told us, look, if you don't get your population down by such and such date, or such and such time, we can see the future. You're doomed. You're done. If that's the case, what is happening with China? China has just reversed their whole population output. Remember, years ago, they used to limit, hey, you can't have more than one kid. Or they would fine you or they'd kill the kid. Well, they changed all that. Now they give you money and boosters and all these apartments and give you things if you have more kids. They are building the gnarliest, wildest, craziest army that the world has ever seen because they want to rule the earth. So is it, if there is an alien intervention, what is China doing? So I don't think that. I mean, is it possible? Sure.
Super soldiers.
But they are building super soldiers, and they're encouraging their population to produce, and they're building their navies. They're building their air force. In fact, right now as we speak, their space activity looks like it's equal to or surpassing the United States' space force, and that's not good. And we all know we can't have that.
And again, here we have to base this upon a media vaccination, because I don't have any data that backs up any of what you just expressed. However, I don't disagree with it. You know, that's why we can debate as clearly as we do, walk away as friends and say, hey, what's going on, brother, the next day? But the truth of the matter is, we just have to go through every bit of these issues. Again, I just got to say this. When Trump came out and held up that Bible, who did he commit to?
Well, yeah.
I don't know. Was it because he was swearing to God, an allegiance to God, Jesus Christ, the Son of God? Is that what it was? And I'm not trying to go biblical. I'm not trying to beat that in. I'm
with you.
And you're pushing this message that is just, it's wrongful. It's wrongful. And to me, when you allow a voice and that has so much power over the people, you better use it right and properly. And I truly mean that. Because honestly, when you look at the whole narrative of everything, he walked out of the presidency much richer man than he walked in, even though he didn't take a paycheck. And so did his family, books and deals and anybody. So the minute you get a taste of power, these objectives are there. How do you narrate through such a dysfunctional propaganda machine that we have been fed?
I don't see that his son was selling paintings for $2.5 million. I mean, I don't see anywhere near the swamp creatures. But did they do okay? Sure, they probably did. But I don't think he traded favors with dignitaries in China over deals. I don't think he rolled that way. I think he does have the best interest for the United States. I think he does care about the average person. But this whole pushing that booster thing, this changes my thought pattern on the whole thing. And I agree with you 100% that he's got to know. How could you not know?
He knows.
Although I see it every day. I talk to people, the average Joe in the street. I'll even go up and ask people, random. I don't know them. I want to know their opinion. And not even a quarter of what me and you were talking about, people understand or know. The average person. Your listeners are different because they're awake. But the average Joe that goes to work, comes home, they must think we're nuts, man.
And plenty probably think I am too, you know, when I get into this mode. But it's just a matter of fact and discussion.
It's got to be done, Michael.
Exactly.
If we didn't have anybody that was conspiratorial, how would you ever find the truth? I love people that will go after something and look at all the angles. We need that in this world. We have to have that, or you'll never get the truth. You know,
right? I mean, could we be? My thought is, could we be being led down some path? And I want people to protect themselves from that on all sides. That's all I want.
Well, there is a reason that the right, the leader of the right now, which is Trump, is going forward with that vaccination, knowing that he probably knows that this is hurting people. Okay, Michael, we're not trying to be crazy here. Look, me and you both know that any vaccination, whether it's for polio or whatever it's for, has some side effects in the population. We know there is a small percentage of that, but this is way beyond that. So anybody that's listening right now, you got to understand, look, we understand that there's normal amount of problems with vaccination, but this is on a scale level that's never been seen before.
It's a global issue.
It's global.
It's huge.
And we're seeing thousands of people. They've been hiding a lot of the numbers. We know that it is an enormous amount of people that have had side effects or death or crippled from this thing. And that Trump will continue to push it is a very scary thought. In fact, I probably, like a lot of people, I thought that somebody kind of had our back up there, right? That maybe in 24 we could get a lot of our people in the house and get back into power and kind of get back to our country normal, like it's supposed to be, with our borders secure and our economy booming. But you know what? With him coming out with that, just sunk into my stomach, man. It hurt me, man, because this guy's supposed to be looking out for the best of our interests. And it's like you said, Michael, we cannot rely on one person to do it all. We have our Rand Pauls out there. We have, some Senator Ted Cruz. They're fighting, but you know what? They're not going after the Douglas program.
No,
they're not. Nobody. There's only a few people that are going after the Douglas. And you're talking about, My Pillow, Alex Jones, even, Savage is getting old. He has not. I'm very interested to see. In fact, I did start writing a message to him that I haven't sent out to his email, because he's a huge voice. He's been a voice for many years. I would love to know what he felt, because he's never came out anything negative on that vaccine. But even people like him have to at some point, right? Because these numbers are astronomical.
And look at the numbers of the people who've been fighting this since day one.
Yeah. Right.
So all I'm saying is, Scott, I'm hoping people are waking up to this, and I want to make an example here. I stream through people who share me throughout Canada, Australia, Italy, and the Netherlands, and more. And that's not a lie. So when you look and see 1.5, when you see 1.5 thousand, 1,015, that's just on my Facebook page. That's not the overall abundance. But when they question me and say, Michael, in broken English, that's why I played and support going into this New Year's Eve, a culture of a different voice singing the New Year's Eve song. That was a message that I sent back to them, because they said, Michael, I'm afraid to carry the USA flag now. We're fighting this indoctrination, and he's supporting it.
Michael, the power of the voice, we all know, is huge. A lot of these countries, Australia, France, Germany, a lot of these, even Vietnam, they're all waiting for the United States to make a move. They're scared to death. The tyranny is happening there worse than here. When the United States has a little bit of an issue in the economy, other people die. That's how powerful we really are. I mean, third world nations could starve to death if we're in a bad lump.
Yeah.
So from what I hear from people that I know in other countries, the narrative that what I'm getting from them is, we are waiting for the Americans. Where's the Americans? When are they going to stand up and fight?
Never.
I don't know.
Never.
There's an old saying.
Never.
There's an old saying that America will be conquered within, and will go down with a whimper.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope that's not true. I hope that's not true.
All right. Let's go. Let's take this in a different narrative. Is he doing this on purpose? So we say F you to the whole theme of it? Is that where he's at in his mindset? Maybe that his mind is developed more for his intelligence and the credit that is given to him for being very brilliant. Is this something that he's doing that way? then we have to ask a bunch of other questions. Who's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
who was Nambar Bush? What was the connection between John Trump and the deep state versus President Donald Trump? Who was the connection between them? Nikolai Tesla.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the
Yes.
deal. Here's the deal. Everything that was ever good for America got shot down.
Yeah.
Look up who Nambar Bush is. It'll blow your mind what he controlled. Look up who Prescott Bush is. It'll blow your mind what he controlled and what he did. And when you look at the sides, when Trump was in question, what did you think about President Obama? He could have sat there and said, well, he was one of the biggest flipping freaking butt munches I ever met in my life.
Oh yeah,
but he didn't. He didn't even put a balance there to the American public side of all the information we know.
And me and you, I know for a fact, have been in this fight way longer than Trump. You know, Trump was a Democrat for many years.
Oh yeah, and a Mason.
Yeah, and you know, I've been fighting this forever. And with or without Trump, the fight's going to continue.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of strong Americans. We're not going to put up with it. You can see it happening. But he does control a lot of power on the right.
The power of the voice.
For him, you know, for him to keep going along with this, Mike, it just makes you wonder why. What control has somebody got to him? Has he been compromised? If he goes against this, will they kill his family? I don't know.
Or is this his ill message that will get him out of the whole picture between both sides?
Yeah.
Maybe he feels it's time for DeSantis to step into the ring. Maybe
he knows that'll cause a wave in his. But it is his legacy. He's very narcissistic.
Yes.
He's an extremely arrogant man, and he's not. Trump is not the kind of guy to come out and say, I was wrong on this. But he needs to say, look, I got the information that I worked with. I did this as best as I could. I speeded it out. I trusted the scientists, the people around me. But look, there could be a problem with this. We're seeing some people, and nobody's going to hate on him for that. In fact, we're going to love him to death for that.
In fact, that's what he may want you to believe.
But I don't see him doing that, bro.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying what is best for the people right now is my whole narrative of point. Us, the control mechanism. We can never, and the book says it. And the book says it and explains it.
I'm glad that you brought this stuff up. I know your listeners may know or may not. We're not scripting this or anything. This is just me and Michael shooting the shit. But
right,
people need to know this stuff.
They'll learn a lot more on Sunday.
Like we did.
They'll learn a lot more on Sunday.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
you know what though? This is all plain English. When you look at one's dialogue, one's comments and answers to questions and Q&As, and you write them down, and then you base it upon the facts of everything that had happened. There's an explosion going on here, and it doesn't make sense.
Right. Maybe he does want someone to take the reins. Maybe he has been compromised too.
Well, he said once upon a time in an address that these are very powerful people, and I might have to go missing.
Yes, I think that they tried to kill Trump like 17 times, right?
He had over 50 death threats in the office. Yes.
Yeah, and one of the actual attempts was on when he was down at that resort there in Florida. A frog team basically was sent to assassinate him. And thank God our Navy SEALs sunk their shit before they could even get to doing it. But he's had some close calls, and I have heard rumors, but can't confirm it, that Pence had some type of involvement in one of the assassination attempts. Can't confirm it. It was rumor. But I tell you what, If you look back before J6, look at how they looked at each other. They wouldn't even be in the same place. Trump would be down in Texas at a military base, where Pence would be in the White House, or vice versa. They would never be in the same place. And Pence had a chance to change this country.
Yes, he did.
And he folded. He folded, man. He let down the American people.
Trump knew it before it happened. It was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you, he knew it was going to happen before it happened. I'm a reader.
Yeah, he probably told him.
I'm a very good reader, and I read people. We're called readers. We really are. It's not a term widely used, and I guarantee you that when it was brought, well, I did ask Mike, and do what you're supposed to do, and Trump tried to say that he was pushing him a little bit, like we really want you to make your own decision, be your own man, do what's right here. He knew before it happened what was going to happen, and as well as I put out there, 1 hour after 10/6 even occurred, I called it a total setup and sham, and look what happened a year later. And I stuck by my gut feeling, and that's exactly what it has been. And let's say this: who shot Ashley Babbitt? Why does every police officer have to be hung by his balls and thrown in prison for doing a job, and a guy can shoot an unarmed woman, and there's no validation to it? So this is the bullshit of America.
Yeah, not to mention that my good friend, Victoria White, was hit 35 times in the head with a steel rods and punched in the face. This is a small woman. She's a 39-year-old woman, mother of 4, was punched and beat. They could have killed her. And we've now starting to see the video coming out where she was in that hall. And yet she was pulling people off of the windows from breaking the windows to try to get in. But they're charging her with 3 felonies. She's still facing 2. They dropped 1. She could still do 20 years. Now, thank God, Newsmax and some of the media have starting to pick this up and show her case. But there was another woman. Now, I didn't know about this until recently, and I thought I knew everything about J6. There was another woman killed not too far from where Victoria White was beat. She was killed, and it was a black officer that had his fingerprints all over it. Yeah. From what I understand, now they're still hiding a lot of those videos, and we know. Remember, we heard there was pipe bombs placed.
Yes.
That place is so secure. There's cameras everywhere. They know exactly who placed those. And they're not going to disclose that because it was their people that did it. It was their people that placed those pipe bombs. Listen, the whole thing stinks.
It is. Dirty. They were all narratives, including Lemon and Smollett.
Yes.
And who's related to Carmela? Go do the homework on that. These things have, the problem that young lady, White, has run into is the fact that she was disrupting a created narrative that was supposed to happen.
Right. She was someone that was messing it up. It's like,
exactly.
Have you seen that footage where a guy is trying to break a window, and a guy's filming it, and another guy comes over there and says, "Hey, is a patriot. Stop doing that. We don't do that."
Right.
This guy gets in his face. "Fuck you! I'll kick your ass. Get the fuck out of here." That same guy starts letting other people come break the window, walks away. They see him standing there, just overlooking it. Got full earpiece in his ear, not dressed like a Trumper. He's got all the stuff of FBI on it to me. I mean, come on, this stuff can't be scripted. It is clear, and still, with what we know about it, and me and you, and I'm sure most of your listeners, because they're awake, but you go ask the average person, you go ask somebody on the street or somebody on the left, and they go, "Oh yeah, that was it. That was riot insurrection. They should have never. That was horrible." But I don't hear people saying, "Well, that was horrible last year when they were burning down cities, when they were burning courthouses, when they killed police, they were burning cop cars, they burned a couple jails. Those are courthouses. Those are federal buildings." But nobody's talking about that. Nobody's talking about that. They're saying, oh my God, this was equivalent to 9/11 on J6. I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible what's happening.
Well,
I
it's to me, this should be describing to the American people right now how big this coup really is. Because even if you look at some of the other films that were released, people were screaming at what they thought was Capitol Police. Go help. I mean, lined up against the wall, standing their arm. You got to do. They did nothing. Paid for actors. That's what they were. It was a total addresses setup. Why do you think they fired everybody?
Right. Oh yeah.
All the heads of everything got fired, and then they got superficial bonuses.
You know, and Pelosi refused the National Guard to go there. Trump actually requested National Guard to be there. He knew that when you get 1 million people together, and he knew that they could have agitators. We all knew it. I was supposed to be there at J6 with Victoria White. I was supposed to be there. And I even had thoughts like, man, I hope there's no setup or something happens. That's a lot of people, man. Shit can get crazy. It can get sideways. And under the circumstances, my mom ended up getting cancer, and I didn't go. I had booked I had the days off. I booked the rental car. I mean, we were going. And we were going because the President of the United States asked us to go, because it was our duty as Americans, and we felt that the election was stolen, which it was. And so we didn't go there. I mean, listen, nobody that I know went there to do any harm or anything like that. I was going just to go to speak the voice. You know, nobody was going with guns and all this stuff. It wasn't the deal. And they turned it into this huge. I mean, these people on CNN are even going, well, this was equal to 9/11. You know, it's insanity. I think most people see through it, but there's a lot that still don't, and that's what's scary. We're not just fighting the government; we're fighting other people.
Yes.
And if you look, Michael, have you noticed? You go out shopping, or you go out to the mall, and it's Christmas or different places. It seems like people are just so divided. People are walking around; they're not smiling. They got this mad dog look on them. It's like, what's happening to our country? I mean, is everybody so angry? Are we so divided? I guess we are. I guess we really are. You know.
I think you have a valid point there, and I think we are still in that place, which means the mind control has taken its place in our society without a doubt, and that's why I try to push to them. You know, I don't want to be hated by people. I want to be liked for a purposeful cause that I come out and speak on a platform about. And I know some things that I say are going to be highly subjectable and ridiculed, but that's perfectly fine as long as you find the focus that makes you have that right to choose and choice and thought and mind and body. And that was what this was all about, the control narrative. So you couldn't, and you won't. And people must speak out freely for themselves and express thought. That's exactly why I share what I share tonight. And I could have got into it much, much deeper on biblical and versus Trumpical and Trumpism and more. And again, I'm not against the guy. But we do have to we have to find out and put it together for ourselves, the logic of what we see. Because let me tell you, it's a hard cup of Java to swallow.
Oh, it is, man. And you know what? The truth will come out. We will find it out. So, you know, whoever's listening to us, we will find it out. We're gonna find out what's the deal with this. But I would still vote for Trump because it's the lesser evil. And I'm not saying Trump's evil by any means, you guys. It's just I don't agree with every single thing. I agree with 90% of what he's doing, but I don't agree with him pushing this vax that we know has killed children. When you mess with children, I got a problem. You know what I mean? if a grown adult wants to make the decision to go do that, do it, but don't force me to do it. Now, that's one thing that I do have to back Trump with. He does not want it to be forced. He doesn't want the military to have to be forced to do it. He doesn't want civilians or people to say, hey, you can't go to school unless you have it. Maybe in his mind, he really does believe it's good, but I kind of have to agree with you, Michael. He is an intelligent man. The information's there. He's got to know that is problematic.
Right. And the scientists have came on. We've gotten our hands on bottles due to very good patriots out there who like to smash and grab things that we needed to investigate. So there I support the smash and grab. We know some of these boxes only come with like 3 bottles at times of this medication, we'll call it, while the other 9 bottles are nothing but saline. So it's all been a device. It's been a slow device because let's face it, if they did something that was so catastrophic, the whole world would know about it within 1 month, which we already do know about it 1 month regardless, just because of the adverse effects and all the other informations that came forth. But that was only one.
That would explain booster. That would explain the booster after booster after booster.
Right. Finally, everyone will have it in them. Finally, everyone will have it in them.
And you know what? Let's just touch on something. I got to know your opinion on this. It's still conspiratorial, but we are learning some things about it. That there's a possibility that 5G could activate some of these things. What do you think of that, Mike?
Well, we know what's inside the properties. If you go on any of my pages, you'll see that I have some things through Stu Peterson that were analyzed, and we know when things are hit with certain type of electromagnetism or 5G radiated, which, by the way, just so you know, it's a Tesla creation. Just so you know that.
The 5G, yeah.
Yeah, the 5G towers, that's Tesla.
Yeah, Tesla originally had plans. He was in competition with, the power designers at the time, to alternate current and direct currents. He actually had patents on sending electricity through the air.
Yeah.
So I think they picked up on a lot of this technology, but you're right. And people think that, 3G, then the next step, 4G, and then 5G, that it's just another increment to get them faster internet. Oh, no. Anybody that's listening, I can tell you right now, the difference between 4G and 5G are huge. They're not even in the same category. When you start stepping up to a 5G level, it can fry your internet. The messaging that's coming in and out with this 5G will bombard your body constantly. So I don't know if there's something deactivated by it, but it is plausible. It's very plausible.
Hold on, Scott. I'm here. Just give me a second. For some reason, it was like a direct zap.
Getting over the target, buddy.
Yeah, and
what time is it back there, back east?
It's 10 o'clock, and everybody's getting ready to drop the ball and start the party, and we didn't even touch some of the focus points, and this is why I tell you, our mouths are just too big.
Well, I don't mind. I'll stay on as long as you want.
Let's go a few more minutes, because honestly, we can do a closeout on it, and I know a lot of people want you back. And again, if you're just tuned in, you're checking this out, and you want to, Studio 10 Broadcasting, 10 o'clock talks. This is the Friday night America in crisis, and that's exactly what it is. We're trying to navigate with clarity through issues that we are suffering in America, and we should be able to talk about them as adults, not hate each other about them. Like, I'm never going to listen to him again. He demonized Trump. But you know what? I'm looking out for your best interest, for your child's best interest, and so is Scott here. And that's all we're trying to navigate through. We can, always agree to disagree, but we can come back tomorrow and fight again because we need answers and we need a better place in America. And how do we get it? My major point to where I am through all this truly is that we, the people, need to pick up the reins here and start taking control. Endorse the people that we want, not create another coup, because that could backfire us at another date and time in some mannerism. But if we can place as many of we, the people, in, and not the articulate of Harvard and Yale and politics and families and power. I'm sorry. I'm not for Purdue. I'm for Jonathan Garcia. I'm sorry, Trump. That's the way I stand with it. I'm for we the people, 1776 2.0. I want to live in a natural state of America where you can breathe freely, walk freely, create freely, and, by all means, make the almighty buck count again.
Right. And the founding fathers set this country up. They were brilliant, man. They really were. And a lot of the reasons, okay, when you look at your First Amendment, your Second Amendment, your Third Amendment, your Fourth, these amendments were set up to be most important to, and further on. And this is why the freedom of speech is number one. Number one, because you can come out and say anything unless you're inciting something. And it's collective information, and you make up your own decision in your home. We're not trying to make people believe exactly what we believe. We're putting out things that we hear, and we're letting you, the people, make your decision with it. And we're not making stuff up. Trump does, he does endorse this booster. We do know that people are dying from it. This is not something that we're just coming up with in our imagination. It is happening, and it's happening on a global scale. The world is in trouble right now. The world is in a lot of trouble. It's happening everywhere. France, Germany, England, Ireland, Africa, all in turmoil. So as human beings, as species, we got to figure this out. We got to get back to prosperity.
Yes.
The best system in the world is the system we have here, the freedoms we have. I mean, in China, you can't just go travel where you want to travel. You can't just, we're gonna take a trip and go here. It doesn't work like that over there. It's a communist nation, and it's sad that a lot of the left media is leaning towards the socialist aspects of things here. They're pushing that. I mean, Michael, how much stuff are we seeing as the socialist every day now? It's crazy.
Yeah, and again, that's why I'm begging people to understand. And your biggest hint to this was when the orange peppermint patty, this, the woman, circle back girl, said that we will intervene into the social media and take the control of the reins. And we do know that the platforms, and even admitted by Zuckerberg himself, that they have algorithms that work to feed news media and who to vote for wherever they choose to see it to go to and where it will go to. You have been set up under social media, and you need to wake up. A lot is so... Listen, there's a lot of fake out there. Creativity comes from when you sit there and type a thought. They don't attack your type of thought. Go into my profile and look. But look when I post things, and I make this example to you. Look when I post things, and they say it's fact checkers, false news. Even though now in the court hearing, and even now in the hearing, they admit that it's only being done by people who have a different opinion.
And it's crazy because you could put something that's factual on Facebook, a video of, let's say, a news article from overseas, Europe or something, and they'll fact check it. Oh, no, that's not. It's like, look, we're seeing this. So they are pushing, like you said, Michael, they're pushing a narrative. And if it doesn't fit the way that they want people to think, they're getting rid of it. I'm in Facebook jail until tonight about 2:00 in the morning.
Ooh.
I constantly go through these things. I've had 35 identities on Facebook, and it's just constant. And let me tell you, the reason I got kicked off, guys, is because I posted a GoFund for Victoria White, for her family, for her kids, and they can't tolerate that. I want to just shout out something real quick. If you guys could think back, there was a kid. His name was Cannon. Cannon. He was on the head by a neighbor. Can you still hear me?
Nah, something went wrong.
Okay, hold on. How's that?
Oh yeah, real good.
Better?
Real good.
Okay. So Cannon was shot in the head by a neighbor. He was a little white kid.
Yes.
He was like 5 years old. You guys remember that? Remember that? Well, his parents and friends put up a GoFund on Facebook, and it was generating some money. It was on there for about a day. They kicked it off. That was not allowed to be put there. But the guy that killed him, that shot him in the back of the head, which was Black Lives Matter, his GoFund was allowed to be on there. If that doesn't tell the American people something, I don't know what would.
Yeah, and
we're
you
dealing with people here, so.
Right, and did you know it's now called the Black Empowerment Movement? Don't you?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's a new narrative. They have some new corporate people managing, but the low lines are still the BLM triple queens, the buyers of the properties in California and so forth, investors that were handed all the free money, which now, guess what? How do you like how your stimulus check worked for you? You're paying 10 folds more for it already. It wasn't going to be on our children. It's already on you. And everything's going up. Utilities and more.
Oh, it's
focus,
insane.
people. Focus here. That's all I'm saying.
They're not going to give nothing. They're not giving nothing free.
No.
It back with the interest.
Look, this was set up to attack America because what happened with Hillary Clinton. Don't look up. Yep. Watch that movie.
Absolutely. Right. I'm going to check that out. And you know what? I also have heard that Antifa has actually built an armed force now, a militia.
Yes.
So, if things get shaky in these large cities, I think we're going to see something that we've never seen before on another level. And then last summer was really bad.
Yeah.
Can you imagine these guys running around with AK-47s?
Well, why do you? Perfect example of what you just said. Why do you think that DeSantis was standing up and making statements that he was going to use the Patriots of Florida as part of their unified private military system, only to have authority by his voice? You think he doesn't know? You think he doesn't know something's going to happen?
He knows, yeah. And it's in the Constitution that if law per state, even federally or per state, if the law enforcement cannot control the crime, that the state militia is supposed to have funding by Congress and full authority. That is in the Constitution. Now, they don't like that.
Right.
But I think that DeSantis has used, he's got knowledge. If he knows that, then he's used, and I heard today or yesterday, that he is revamping the state militia system. So good. That's what we need. That's good American strong stuff. We need that. And there was another thing that came out today, was a lady up in Canada in front of a big news conference in front of Trudeau called him out. Essentially told him, look, listen, what you're doing is treasonous acts. And what we do in this country with people that commit treason, and our fathers did, was hang them.
Right.
She told him that on live TV. And I thought, wow, that's awesome. That's an American, or that's a patriot.
Yeah.
She's not American, but she's a patriotic person.
Well, we're all of one. We are truly, in my mind, of creation, all of one. So it doesn't matter that you're a Canadian, as they say, and they try to create these indigenously new names, a Floridian, a Pennsylvanian, a Canadian. You get it? They're separating us. We are one of the United States of America in this landmass. They only use borderlines to make it look like we're not. However, we're all in bed together. They're all in bed together.
Right. We should go back to the ways that they did, in World War II, where the Allies and then the Axis powers, because this is global. These people are ruthless. We are learning the kind of power they have, and it's insane the amount of power these people have.
And best word you used all night, insane.
If we can get together, they have nothing. But I think a lot of these countries, and that's the overall feeling that I'm getting, is they're waiting for the United States to stand up and start protesting and start standing up.
Yeah, but that's part of what I would like to get into a narrative with you about later. What will come when that comes of a false flag for control? What then will be what have we not seen that's yet to come? And believe me, before 2022 takes place, because they know how important this is, just as we do on the red side, knowing what we need to do, they're expect and believe in the unbelievable.
Yes, we're going to see some very fascinating things come out. As closer we get to these elections, with what can control the House and the Senate, the grip will get tighter and tighter.
Yes.
I agree with you, Michael. We're going to see some weird false flags, some crazy stuff come out. Who knows? I mean, I've had some thoughts. I'll just throw it out there. A new strain, a completely new strain, a full lockdown, possibly.
Well, the flu's making a comeback. I mean, it's on the rise. Imagine that.
Right.
Are they trying to get you through the flu shot? No, I don't know. But that's the new threat. We're already into a new threat. We already have the fourth wave of you need to have it. This needs to be done. You need to receive this new medication. And now the narrative, and I'm not joking, they're going back to the flu. All right, if we can't get them with all these creative names and terms that have Latin meanings and more. Now, if you don't call some of that shit biblical, you never will. Add up the numbers if you're doing numerology, 666. I mean, come on. Right. And that doesn't necessarily stand for the number of the beast, the market, But the point and narrative is they're going to be creative to the point where it'll blow your mind. And technology is going to show its true colors at that point.
Right.
You're going to see some shit that you were like a non-believer to that you better start believing in because the shit's real.
And I don't want to shake nobody up, and I'm not trying to push any, religious thing or anything, negative or positive. But I will say, and I don't know if you heard this, but NASA recently requested help of
the Vatican,
biblical scholars.
Yes.
To how can I say so
to narrate people's acceptance of alien beings.
Correct. So you've dived into that a little bit, and I find that pretty fascinating. Now I know they've done this throughout time. They've done this before, but not like this. So there is, and I think the Americans, and not just Americans, but people around the world have this feeling of when you're up on a roller coaster, right when you're at the top, before you start going down, when your stomach starts going up in your neck, we feel that we're on the verge of something. I feel it. I can taste it. I breathe it every day. And maybe it's because I dive into this stuff, but I feel something. We're on the verge of something. And, this COVID-19 that they put out is really a test run. It's really a test run and control and a lot of things. We have some nasty things in our arsenal. And so do the Chinese. If it escaped, it would be devastating.
Yes.
I mean, it would kill, most of the population. So, God help us if they're getting ready to put something nasty out. Well, when you corner a rat, and we are seeing this, The Democrats know the American people have had enough. The information's coming out, and thank God for good people out there like Michael, Alex Jones, and Rogan, Candace, that they're putting this stuff out, and people are starting to wake up. But as closer as we get to learning the truth, these rats get cornered, and they're able to get us into a damn nuclear war or a massive bioweapon. History shows us that when they get cornered, they get us into a war. They weren't afraid
to use force and make an example on 9/11, were they?
Right. Yeah,
What happened in Miami? What happened in Miami over the leaks that came from what was it, John McAfee? What happened to that tower?
McAfee, yeah.
Where's the details on that? I mean, true details.
Trump said when he went into office, and you probably remember this, that he would get to the bottom of 9/11 and give us the truth. He's done a lot of things, but he has not done that.
He said JFK too.
They've probably told him that's a no-no. We will kill your family. You do not.
Exactly.
Anything on that. And you mentioned some very interesting things that I had learned a little bit about, but you brought it in more of a light to me. In the last couple months, I have really dove into it. You mentioned that the workers there on the site of 9/11, they would go through boots. I mean, it would burn the soles of their boots. And then we're talking 30 days later after this building went down, these buildings. It's because the temperatures were so great. And I looked at an analysis that was showing even from space, they were still getting temperatures of over 2,000 degrees. Have you heard that?
Well, I didn't. I think that's actually kind of a false narrative, and I'll tell you why. I have Trump in his own voice, who was in the basement of the building 3 days later, of where they could get in through, analyzing with engineers what had happened. And he himself said in that interview that what they looked at were bombs being set off, but not just bombs. And then you have to look at some of the other narratives that day. How did cars up to an eighth mile away have melted tires on them and bumpers? Because they're fiberglass silicone bumpers now, and they were melted.
You think thermite? You think some energy directed?
Thermite was definitely one of the uses on the inside of the building, but it was beyond that. It was a direct weaponry type of delivery in some manner, and we don't know how that had taken place.
Well, they know they do have energy weapons that they can use from space, that if they beam it on something, it will superheat it internally, and it could collapse. So
what else would turn the building into powder, including steel?
Right. In the history of aviation, no buildings have ever fell from a plane like that. It just doesn't happen.
And not that building.
It can't happen.
Those buildings were built to take it.
That's right. And look at how many times has the Empire State Building been hit? It's been hit probably 6 or 7 times.
Yes.
It was hit by a C-130 before. It never collapsed. I'm talking a C-130, huge. So no, this was a Pearl Harbor. It really was. And you know how everything changed right after 9/11. We lost a lot of freedoms after 9/11. I mean, the CIA became they basically changed their name and became the Department of Homeland Security.
Mm-hmm.
What we lost was huge, but
they actually put a friend of mine who was the governor of Pennsylvania into that seat. And once he realized how deep the shit was, he ran the hell out of Washington.
No kidding.
Swear to God.
Wow.
Swear to God. I mean, he was right over from Homestead. He was right over from Homestead, Munhall area over there. He had roots over there, and he was a Pittsburgh guy. And he couldn't wait to get the hell out of there. And I can assure you, some of what I'm talking about, sort of, let's just say some things, okay? But and again, will he ever speak on it out loud and clearly? No. Can you blame him?
Very
no.
dangerous. very dangerous.
Very dangerous. You're talking about the Prescott Bush Germans. I mean, were deep in this. And look at listen, I have news media that showed up beforehand that were just went to the incident, pulled up outside the Pentagon. They were being told that from over the police scanners that a plane had hit the and this guy's right out there in the open with camera, and I have this video. There's no plane.
Incredible.
There's no pieces of a plane.
And speaking of that, there's been people that have analyzed the pictures and the wreck from that, and that was not from an airplane.
No.
That particular engine has been scrutinized, and the patterns on the bolting on the engine, that comes from a cruise missile. The patterns of that match perfectly to cruise missiles that we hit buildings over in Iraq. That was clearly, I always think back to the guy that had a gas station. He had a gas station right by the Pentagon.
The video that went missing.
That went missing, but and he was initially interviewed by a reporter and said, "I watched a missile come right in."
Right.
Oh no! That's gone. They went and cleared him right up.
One of the biggest screw ups was, again, it's not in front of me. I'd have to refresh my memory and to my notes and videos, but overseas, 2 minutes before the hit even occurred on the second building, it was reported hit.
That's right.
You can't forget this shit. You can't make it up. These are elements of truth.
They were advertising it overseas that it had happened, and it hadn't even happened.
Exactly.
Another thing that bothered me a lot was they found an aircraft engine, a jet engine, blocks away. If you look at the engine and look at the photographs closely, it was placed underneath a building overhang, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at close, there's no skid marks anywhere. On the sidewalk, on the street. That's impossible for that to get there. Literally, they put a team of guys around it, taped up. They wouldn't let no one near it, and they came and took it away instantly. They got a couple pictures, but then they were gone. In order for that kind of weight to get there, it had to leave some kind of marks. It's just impossible. Well, and then we get into Building 7. If you get into Building 7, Building 7, clearly we heard on microphones from the firefighters, they were blowing the building.
Yeah.
Building 7 was not hit by any debris. Building 7 had fires. Okay, fires. Okay, there's some furniture in there. That doesn't melt steel. There's no aviation fuel on it. But the key is what was in that building was huge. This was the entire documents,
Rumsfeld and Reagan.
Rumsfeld, yes.
Rumsfeld and Reagan had it all in there.
Yep. So they with a swift blowing that up and destroying it really.
And one of the other major components here is the settlement checks for the property got paid out, double downed on. The one building was bought not for a song and dance, but in a way bought for a song. They knew it would take more money to refurbish and remodel this building due to its history of asbestos. And they bought it anyway and never touched it, doubled down on the insurance, and then collected on it all. And if you look into the security, Bush family securities, I mean, you can't make this up. They were the ones watching the building.
Right. I mean, it's like if your neighbor, goes out and puts a life insurance on his wife and she ends up dead, it's pretty clear they're going to start looking at this guy.
Oh, if it was us, yeah.
And it's exactly what they did. We know that the airline had just renewed and doubled up on their insurance, as well as the towers were doubled up.
Yep.
it's like it was anticipated it was going to happen. Now we know there was threats on that building. It was a key thing to a terrorist, wet dream to do it. But my belief is we found out the plot, or we actually helped them to get the plot going.
Well, the truth of the matter is we create the terrorist. We supply them, we fund them, we lead the narrative, they call the mission, and then we have a finger to point, because always remember, somebody always stands up and takes responsibility for the hit. And what did they do about the ones that did the hit? Nothing.
Right. How convenient they found these guys' driver's license and passports in perfect condition.
Set up. Yeah, I know. Just like J6. Set up.
Still haven't, and we will never see those black boxes of those planes. Never. And it's funny, if you commit a homicide or you commit a crime, it's taped off and investigated in pictures, and they go over everything. With this particular crime, which is the first time they've ever done it in aviation history, they hauled all the parts away to the rubble of the building. They were guarded, and they hauled them away to China. Very interesting.
Yep. Yeah. China got all the steel for repurposing to go into the new building. Oh, how convenient. Oh, how convenient.
We've seen these pictures where when a plane crash hits, or whether it crashes or goes into wherever it goes, they reconstruct it, they put the pieces back together, and they do all this analysis to it. Never done. Never done.
Right.
They hauled it away. First time ever. And so a lot of bad stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it would take hours to navigate through this on a lot of points and argue and debate. And I'd really love to get into it where we could get it crowded and get some people motivated on this stuff. Because to be honest with you, if we do not expose and crush these lies and bring truth into people's eyes so they understand that this is exactly why I'm saying, protect your America, not a man. Don't listen to the man, listen to their plan, nor even listen to their plan. We are just in a time and place where we must take control of all measures and aspects of where the future of America is going to go, get, and be.
And we need to fight regardless of who our leaders are. We need to always stay vigilant and fight for what's right. And talking about it like we're doing tonight on the show is the perfect example of what needs to be done all the time. Always question everything. And nowadays, we have to question every single thing because we've been lied to so much. Take your shot. It's going to help you. It's going to prevent you from getting COVID. Well, half the people, or more than half the people in the hospitals right now are vaccinated. It's insane. I think Germany came out with a study that just came out today that it was 7% of the people in the hospital were not vaxxed. The rest, which is huge amount, 83% or where it was, are vaxxed, double vaxxed.
Yes.
So that means the vax doesn't work. So why would you take it? But yet people line up to take that damn thing. That's like, your girlfriend could get pregnant if she takes this birth control pill. And you still got to wear a condom. Well, what?
Yeah, I've used that before. I hear you. I've used that. Hey, John didn't. It's John's fault. He didn't have a condom on the other night. That's why you're pregnant. Yeah, right. And what you're getting to too, here you see you got the airlines and staffing shortages. I want to just filtrate on that a little bit more and elaborate. We really aren't going through nothing with shortages. The pilots were working. They were moving illegals and settling them into all the cities across America, and it's still going on today. Right now, while we speak, they're up there flying in force, pushing people all over the United States out of Mexico. And they are doing it.
Trip how they do it, like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They don't want no media around. They don't want to see these people being flushed around.
But that's what they do. But that's what they're doing, and we know it.
And very little people covering border right now, covering anything. We're not seeing a lot of media covering border. Even, I got to say, even people underground like us, not a lot of people covering it because it's wide open.
You know what?
There's nothing we can do.
Truth is, some of the stuff we're talking about, and some people may laugh at the comment I'm about to make, um, will get you killed, even from the standpoint of what we're theorizing and debating on and just conversating about. Because, we're like a machine, an AK-47 blasting off in their faces and chest of truth, all these bullets of truth hitting them
Yeah.
because we want to expose it so people wake up. And one of the things that saddens me the most is when it comes to this mandatory medication, is the devil's juice, is the fact that people are in fear. And that's why I started with fun and fear. What are you going to choose? If you live in fear, whatever they tell you, people run. There are people that just will do that. And
and they're using it as fear. It's what the Nazis did.
Yes.
It's very similar to what the Nazis did. I watched an old Hitler's Occult the other night. You know, those old World War II movies, and how the propaganda and how they used to curve the people and to get them on their side. And it's a huge style. It's mind control, and they've never stopped using it. And we're using eugenics to this day. We're using eugenics the same as the Germans did. It's never stopped. It's crazy that these eugenics labs have gone up, and people aren't outraged on it. I mean, it's just becoming the normal deal. I guess that's what's best for us. A lot of people, I don't know if it's just the sheep syndrome or what it is. Well, if the government says that that's what it is, it should be good for us, and we'll trust in that.
Well,
we've seen after 9/11, we've seen after they killed Kennedy. You can't trust them. Can't trust nothing they say. We have to question everything and use our First Amendment right to question it. We have to.
Well, we don't have. I understand we have to use that right that we no longer have. It's been curled up, put it into a ball, and thrown in a waste paper basket. But that doesn't mean we forget what the writings have said. We get it. They're implanted in our minds, and that's why we stand behind them, no matter how bad they destroy the paper. And that's what they're trying to do. Anytime you look at anything in life out here, but again, we stay strong in the fight. And I guess about now that we should cut it, let you have some evening, go party your brains out like a rock star. I appreciate you coming on.
Talking to you. I love talking to you, man. It always gives me good inspiration and to keep the fight going. And there's many, many, many people. I deal with so many people all around the country as much as I can. And always not in the light, but I do what I can, and I'm going to continue as an American to do it. I love you. Very inspiring, Michael. I love the fact that you have me on. Sure appreciate it.
Oh, I thank you for being there. You do the same for me. Don't think you don't, because you know what? These are hard topics, and people don't want to touch them. They want to vent on a lot of stuff, but they don't want to get inside the shit. And that's the part that saddens me. And that's where we can shine. It may destroy us. But history one day might say, "Oh my God, they knew," and I do know.
Well, Mike, I think of this. I'm gonna leave this world eventually. We're all gonna die, but I know in my heart that I was on the right side of history, bro.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna throw something at you. A little mind bender. Mm-hmm. Creation came by hand of man, no matter if you look at it in the Bible or if you look at it by the word of God himself, which means we were created, which means we are hybrids, which means that's why these people practice some of the things that they practice, because they truly know and understand and believe what it takes to destroy a DNA or change a DNA. And we are that test.
Yes.
We are that test.
We should do a show about biblical and thoughts of creation. I think that would be fascinating to do with you. I'd love to hear your
Oh boy, do I have some crazy thoughts. But you know what? They come from the fact of how deep you're willing to read also. Do you think some of these depictions of glyphs and paintings and stone carvings and statues in Iraq and Egypt. You think when you look at the dogman's head, I forget what they call the guy, but I'm just using it as a narrative.
Yeah.
I have, there's just something about the writings that say these things at one point in time did exist. The giants
I
existed.
agree. I think that we still have dogmen existing. I forget exactly what the Egyptian name for it, but we know that we have a lot of accounts of these dogmen. I know we were going to do that particular kind of show tonight on cryptid and stuff, but there's just so much going on that we got into what we got into, which was great. But boy, there's a lot of room. So if you ever want to have me back again, I definitely would love to.
You finish. Listen, you finish the studio. You behave yourself so you can come on and voice more.
Okay. Sounds good. And I'll be set up in a regular studio in the future here, not too long. I'm still in California, but it won't be long. I'll be set up where we can get down and do some more goodies.
All right, cool. Say goodnight to everybody, and then I'll do a closeout.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael.
All right, Scott. Appreciate you. So, everybody, that was Richard Scott, a.k.a. That's all I can tell you about him. And to be honest with you, he is being shadow banned that badly. His algorithms, it's like every time we go live, there's issues. Or just I'm just that unlucky, or there's so many people on the internet. Maybe it's that too. Who knows? The point is this, we talk loud, we talk strong when we're together, and that's because we're just trying to get through to people. We really want to, and maybe more so than by me, but I feel everybody deserves to look at all sides of everything, and we need to call them out. In doing so, I think we have better choice. Get it? Because they don't want you to have the right to think. If you think the way they want you to, it doesn't come out here. But if you think the way you want it to, you can be creative through your own mouth. I see everybody working. I see everybody supporting America. However, again, remember, this whole scheme is being ran through the department. And that's the part that should scare everybody the most. And I want everybody to just stay as strong as you can on that, with that, and do the best you can to move forward. That's the best way to go. Sunday, I'm going to be on with Rosalind. We're going to discuss some of what we discussed tonight, because I'm on a narrative trend into 2022 of enlightenment and encouragement and positivity and numerology. And when you see things, the importance of it. And we're going to try to hit and exercise all our thoughts and meanings through that to you. We do work together on and offline sometimes to narrate and help people out. But the bottom line is, unless you understand the true focus of it all, it would have no meaning. So how you are enlightened here and how you prosper in information on this side, and pick it apart the best way you can. Everything else, as I step forward, should help you a little bit more. And I'm one of the only ones that are probably going to go this route to try to expose a lot of what goes on out there. I don't really worry about it, and I don't think you should. But I do want to thank you for the times that you come into the room, you check out the video or more. Some stay for the whole power drive of the podcast. Some people don't. I call it an entertainment platform, just in case anybody's out there spying on me that listens to this stuff, that wants to try to take the video down. Because I know we had a lot of things tonight that would crush the hearts of the political party and the leftists and more, and the deep criminal aspect of America that we're living in. And just remember, I'm only doing it for that. The purpose is to just say, hey, we have to stand strong and focus here. And again, I think you need to put the trust in your own selves at this point in time. We do know the phrase, history repeats itself. Just saying, best that we take action not to let that happen again. Anything could happen. Anything could happen in the future. We have to really analyze all these things that are in front of us. So thanks again for being in. Happy New Year to everybody. I do appreciate you guys. Follow, share, like. Check me out on Wednesdays on the Dark Radio Network Project under YouTube and here on Facebook. We get into a little bit different. It's cryptid, it's dark, it's Bigfoot. Me and DP hit a lot of things. Some of the things are just going to be me narrating once in a while around the stories that I put together, and I got one coming up in the next week or two. Portland, Alaska. I'll be doing something on that, and it's very, very great stuff. No joke. A lot of historian work involved on it and more. And I think everyone will like that. So, yeah, Wednesdays I'm on, Fridays I'm on, Sundays I'm on. I'm also on other broadcasts and podcasts and different things like that. So it does get, but it was pretty fascinating when he told me he's going through the news and here I am. So, yeah, some of those short blips that I put out there, I don't do them on Facebook. They are getting other places, and I try to focus maybe 4 or 5 really important featured items. And I do those. Here I do more of the longer segments because a lot of people like to be active. The numbers keep going up. That means support's out there. Again, don't judge me. I'm never going to judge you. This is all for you. Hopefully, I deliver it the best way I can. I'm not against anybody here. That's not the thing. I just need truth. I think that's what we all need. We all need truth. I think, if truth has been erased from the dictionary, face it, it has. And until we can find it, expose it, and enlighten people, we're never going to win at anything in life that we have left here. Me, I'm getting older. What's to be for the future? I don't know. But it looks very bleak. And I'll tell you what, 2022 may have some positive numbers in there like the 222, but it's not the narrative that they're going to deliver on us. It's going to become much worse. And the scenario is going to, and it may come through money in your own wallet, what you're able to afford. It may come because there's this new generated wave of something else. Like right now, the return of the almighty flu. Oh, it's returned. Maybe it has. Allow yourself to be sick. Take care of yourself. Chicken soup, vitamins, orange juice, whatever it takes. I wish I could change it all for a flu virus, it would be so much easier, but it's not. And this can be complicated and it can hurt people. But it's the worst case scenario. What I find through all this is what the healthcare is doing to subject people to treatments and tell them you don't qualify for it versus you do qualify for it because of a certain color. What the hell, It should not ever work that way in any state throughout America. It's unlawful. But pharma owns the hospital industry now. Truly. They truly do. And the hospitals got them there. So see how it works? It's just how it goes down. So anyway, thanks a lot. Happy New Year's to everybody out there. Beth McCord, you're a rock star. You always are. I wish you a happy New Year. April, Dead Lady Red, I haven't seen you in a while. I seen you jump into the room tonight. Happy New Year to you. These are people who work behind the glass and have helped me through the year. They've been rock stars in 2021 and so many others. Thanks everybody for your supports. It's overwhelming and it's greatly appreciated. And remember, my remarks are nothing, truly. Just looking with putting a little mind bending on it, because I think we all need to navigate through these bendings of thoughts and try to create a perspective of truth, because it's been erased. That was the first thing taken out of the equation long before the whole pandemic fit and hit. Truth was removed. We need to restore that word the best we can. So again, I'm out of here. Have a great night. Appreciate you. I'll check to see who's on. I'll try to make comments back to you as I celebrate the high hour of the Dark 12. Take care, guys.